Calaroga Shark Media.
When is the NFL back? What am I supposed to do all day? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I will talk about Shane Gillis on tomorrow's episode. Ricky Gervais tweeted worst ad ever and shared this, which I found funny.
Hi, I'm Ricky Gervais, and this is Dutch Barn Vodka. It's a beautifully crafted premium spirit. It tastes great, and it's friendly to the environment. It's known as the posh one in the brown bottle. But if you can't afford it, just get Smirnoff. Get that for 15 quid. In some places. It does the trick.
Meanwhile, Jim Gaffigan, via the NWI Times, Jim did an out-of-character post. He was promoting, or just, I don't know if he was promoting it officially, or if he's just enthusiastic about Journeyman Distillery. Jim tweeted, I grew up 10 minutes from Valparaiso and the home of Orville Popcorn. I was thrilled when a friend sent me this limited edition popcorn bourbon by Journeyman Distillery. No, it doesn't taste like popcorn or movie theater butter. It's made with popcorn. It's awesome and reminds me of northwestern Indiana. The bourbon is only available in Valpo, but Journeyman Distillery has a bunch of stuff you should check out. I don't know if that was paid or just enthusiasm. Who knows? Jimmy Kimmel dropping some hints that he might be near the end of his talk show run. He caught up with the LA Times. Jimmy will host the Academy Awards on March 10th. It'll be his fourth time. The first time he hosted was, remember when they messed up the Best Picture award? Kimmel said, I didn't think I'd ever host it again. I did 2 of them and they went well, and something crazy happened at one of them with a story I'll have for the rest of my life. I know how much work goes into them, so I thought, yeah, I don't necessarily want to do this ever again. What changed his mind, according to the LA Times, was Top Gun Maverick. Kimmel said, I knew there was a movie that people had seen and it just makes the job easier. Then this year I'm sitting in a movie theater watching Barbie and thinking, well, maybe I'll do it this year because at least I have a point of reference with everyone. Kimmel is experienced enough to know that the more popular the nominated films are, the more the audience gets the references to a movie's plot in his monologue. Kimmel said, I made a joke about Moonlight that made it clear to me that the vast majority of the room had not seen the movie, even though it won Best Picture. Only 3 people have hosted more times. Can you name them? They are Bob Hope, 19 times, Billy Crystal, 9, and Johnny Carson, 5. During the summer, when he was on the Strike Force 5 podcast, he mentioned he was considering ending Jimmy Kimmel Live, but it was the strike that made him realize how much he still enjoyed it. He said, it's hard to yearn for it when you're doing it. Wednesday night, I was very tired and I had these scripts to go through. I had to revise and rewrite all these pitch ideas for the Oscars, and I was literally nodding off into my computer. In those moments, I think, I can't wait till my contract is over. But then I take the summer off or I go on strike and you start going, yeah, I miss the fun stuff. However, I think this is my final contract. I hate to even say it because everyone's laughing at me now each time I think that. And then it turns out to not be the case. I still have a little more than 2 years left on my contract, and that seems pretty good. That seems like enough. I would imagine ABC would give that slot back to the affiliates, right? Are you going to start another fresh late night show? I think those days have passed. We'll see. The Montecito News asked Brian Regan, as many people do ask Brian Regan, about working clean. Brian said, when I first started, I wasn't completely clean. I had some stuff in my act that would shock people today, but it was a small percentage. I enjoy the challenge of seeing how hard I can get people laughing without hitting those 4-letter words or buzz topics. But it's not a mission statement. I'm not riding around on a white horse with a banner that says, follow me to the land of clean. Dirty is fantastic as long as it's truthful and real and organic, but that's not me. Does he swear in real life? He says, hang around one of my golf foursomes and you'll hear some pretty rough language, probably after my very first tee shot. Was he always funny? The answer is definitely no. In fact, I can be amazingly unfunny if you hang around me long enough. I'm not Mr. Cut-Up. It's mostly nose to the grindstone. I hope this doesn't sound lazy, but it doesn't work well for me to sit down and try to come up with material. It's not how my brain works. I just do what I'd normally be doing, and every once in a while I'll see or experience something in a different way, and I'll wonder if it might have some legs on stage. That's the writing process. Rolling Stone spoke to Rami Youssef. He says his early stand-up act was basic stuff. I talked about dating a lot. I remember doing one set at a bar. I was like, I've been fasting for Ramadan. I do it because I actually believe in it. And then there was silence. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. It was a type of silence where I was like, did I just say something edgy? And then I thought, oh, yeah, this is what I've been trying to get at. I was like, oh, wait, everyone's engaged. It's not like they're rejecting it. They're actually really curious as to what I'm going to say next. In that moment, I didn't have that part. But then I said, oh, that's my job. How do I step into that? Because that's actually what I'm chasing. My first filter was, if this doesn't get a laugh, you still have dignity. He started working a bit about how the hardest part of being a Muslim is that you go to the mosque on Fridays before the weekend, whereas Christians don't have to go to church until Sundays. His joke, I'll be at the mosque being like, I don't know what I'm doing tonight. It's such a worse position to have to pre-apologize. It feels so much nicer to do it and then say sorry. As the routine began to connect with the audience, he felt emboldened, saying, because this is fully me, but it's also in the reference of the culture that I'm surrounded by. And then I started writing it in those pockets. Interesting anecdote here. From Rolling Stone, he did a set on Stephen Colbert in 2017. In a couple of stage performances before that, he'd closed his act by saying, "I'm not trying to be preachy, I'm really not. All I'm trying to say is just submit to Islam because it's the truth and it's the only way you'll be saved. Seriously." Both times it got huge laughs, but Youssef says the Late Show producers were so nervous about the joke that they told him, "If you fight us on this, we're not going to let you do the set." He pushed for a compromise. He would close with "submit to Islam," and if they still felt uncomfortable, they could edit it out of the aired version. Instead, it killed, and the final version of the segment ended with a cut to Colbert beaming with delight as he sent the show to commercial. Wow, that's a great story. Hey, if you need something to do today, say there's no football, at 1 p.m. Central Time, you could do the math there. Tom Cashman's Pests premieres on the 800-Pound Gorilla's YouTube channel at 1 Central. Congratulations to MacPacker Henry Winkler. If you're new to the podcast, the MacPack is my fantasy celebrities I would hang out with if I were also famous. So it's Michael Chiklis, Henry Winkler, Andy Samberg, Jeff Goldblum, Tom Cavanaugh. I forget. There's like a whole list, but I would hang out with these people. I got to meet Winkler once, and I know he's heard this a million times, but I was just like, oh my God, 7-year-old me would just totally be losing it now. What a nice guy. MacPacker Henry Winkler will receive USC's prestigious Okie Award for exceptional achievements in film and TV comedy. The award presentation takes place Tuesday, March 5th at 7. It'll include an in-depth conversation with Henry Winkler, moderated by Bill Hader. The LA Times profiled Jeff Dunham, who combined puppets with Johnny Carson's approach to comedy, and it paid off big. In 1970, Jeff Dunham was given a dummy, a gift from his parents. 20 years later, he made his first appearance along with Peanut on The Tonight Show. The LA Times says, "You took ventriloquism to the highest level humanly possible and made it cool. Not that it was uncool. You get it." Jeff says, "Oh, I get it. This is how I know for sure that we're living in a simulation. There's some dad out there and the kid's going, 'Hey, Dad, watch this.' And the dad goes, 'A really famous ventriloquist? No, that would never happen.' Not sure if you know this, but in the vaudeville days, the ventriloquist was the act they shoved on stage when the curtain came down to keep the audience entertained while they reset the stage for the real act." The Times said, "You used to be one of the few comics selling out arenas. Now there's an amazing comedy boom. Do you feel like you should get a finder's fee?" Dunham said, "It's pretty great what's going on. The one thing that's sad about being a headliner is you hardly get to interact with other big headliners to share stories and talk about how long it took and what it took to get to the top. What's also interesting to me is what comes along with social media and being able to put yourself out there instantly. If I had a choice to come up now or when I did, I'd choose then. Just seems crazy difficult now with all the social rules and what you can and can't make fun of. If you're an established name, you have a bit of license, but even then, you really have to navigate those waters and know your audience. I really feel like the world is full of good people and it takes a handful of idiots and jerk faces to mess it up for everyone else." From Chortle, Phil Wang has plans to release an album of swing music. He says crooning rather than comedy is his true passion. He tells Chortle, "This year I'm trying to do different things. Maybe I'll record Phil Sings the Blues or something. I'd love to do that. Sometimes I still think I need to stop this stand-up experiment and get back to my real life because this hobby's gone long enough. Still doesn't feel like a decision I made. People always say, 'How did you fall into stand-up?' And I think that's quite an accurate description of how you do it. You fall into it. But the real passion is the swinging and the crooning. I find it too painful to do now because comedy takes every last bit of your earnestness from you. It makes you cynical about everything. And music is very earnest. It's very hard to sing cynically. When I sing alone in the shower or something, I love it. And I'm going to leave you there. I want you to picture Phil Wang naked. Yeah, in the shower, singing. Don't act like you're not thinking about it. That's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.